Welcome to Charlottesville, Mr. Jefferson's University, the University of Virginia, where fans have been flooding the ground since early this morning. Today, a clash between a couple of ACC rivals in a game that could have big-time implications for the rest of the season. As we'll see, the winners of 5 straight, the Tulane Green Wave, taking on a team from the playoff a year ago, the Virginia Cavaliers. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, joined here in the booth by a couple of legends, and yes, we do use that term loosely. David Pollack from the University of Georgia and former Gator Jesse Palmer. Guys, let's get down to the field. Tulane will kick it off to get this game underway. And he's coming out of the end zone. He was looking for some running room, but not much to be found as he stopped at the 18. So Virginia's offense will go on the attack first. And they're going to be met by one of the best defenses in the nation, David. And I know seeing a defense doing what they want, when they want to do it, makes you a happy man.
Well, defense is starting to make a comeback. I'm excited about this new era of football. We're seeing better tackling, and we're seeing better coverage than we were a couple years ago. And this defense is fun to watch them on tape, fun to talk to their coaches. Jesse, this defense has been consistent all year long.
And they're dialed in, and they're so talented. They've got multiple NFL draft picks on that side of the football, and they don't have to change a lot week to week. This defense...
He's going to fire deep. Makes the catch, and a huge play on the left side. And the Cavaliers headed quickly to the line.
I'm a big believer in taking shots early in the game and being aggressive and showing my team I got confidence in them. Let's go make plays. First drive, already taking shots down the field. Nice job, nice pitch, nice catch.
Explosive run into the red zone. He's out of bounds at the 16. The Cavaliers getting set on 1st and 10. Looking to pass inside the red zone. Using the quick game. Now the connection takes it to the 11. It'll be 2nd down, and remember, they can pick up a first without scoring. On the option. He'll pitch it. So close to that end zone. He could almost taste it, but it'll be 1st and goal for this offense. And the Cavaliers kept this drive moving on the ground. Now back to work. They'll run it on 1st and goal. He pushes it forward all the way to the 2-yard line.
I think coming into this season, they thought in order to have success, we have got to be able to run the ball and get this guy going. He hasn't scored yet this year, but a golden opportunity right now to finally break the seal.
They'll knock him down for a loss of a couple. This is the 7th play of the drive as they come to the line on 3rd and goal. To go to the end zone. And he was trying to pay off this red zone opportunity, but it's incomplete. They'll play it safe and try for 3. And he'll try it from the right hash, and the angle shouldn't be too bad from this distance. Absolutely center cut. And the first points of the day come on that field goal.
Well, this team knew coming into tonight's game they had to get momentum early, playing at home. They want to get the crowd into it, so you get a beautiful drive here to start this thing. You would have liked to cap it off with a touchdown, but listen, you set yourself up for a field goal, you knock it through the uprights, you've got the lead, everything right now looking good.
So Tulane's offense will try to get something started with their first possession. Hopefully we'll see a performance today like the one that this guy had last week when basically he just ran wild through the defense.
He made that defense look silly. Out in the open field, he was making people miss, breaking tackles, scoring touchdown after touchdown. And this offense has vowed to find new ways to get him the football. So we're going to see something else that we haven't seen before because of this guy's unique talent in this one.
Yeah, and the defense, all eyes on him. That will be the main focus. More guys in the box. I wonder if it opens up the play-action game and the perimeter throws and maybe some big plays through the air because they know he is the man, he is the guy, he is priority number 1.
Guys, let's take a second here and talk about Tulane. really good win on the recruiting trail last week. Got a commitment from a 4-star linebacker.
He's going to help him out a lot because of his speed. He simply has things you can't coach from the linebacker position. So his ability to track the ball sideline to sideline, but also get downhill, he's going to make this defense a whole lot more difficult to move the football against.
The Green Wave trying to move the chains on 3rd and short. He'll try to pick it up on the ground. There he goes. Really nice job there to pick up the 1st down and get it to their own 41. They'll run this play from the pistol. The option look. He'll pitch it. And this time they're waiting for him, and he only gets back to the line of scrimmage. Lost 1 on that last one. It's 2nd and 11. From the gun, they'll try to impose their running game. Good pickup there as he gets the 1st down, and they'll mark him at the 48. Tulane right back to the line.
I think it's really important for this offense. They get this guy going early in the game, and they're doing a nice job of that right now. Remember, he's the kind of running back who gets better as the game goes on. That's a really good omen for this offense, considering his success now early.
The Green Wave with plenty of options here on 2nd and short. They'll run the option. Now the pitch. They'll finally make the tackle, but that option was executed to perfection. The Green Wave working with a fresh set of downs. Let's see if they keep it on the ground here. Here comes the option. Now the toss. Across the 25, he's got room. Touchdown, Green Wave. Great job by the back on the option.
And they just keep feeding it to their workhorse back to open this game. Great job in the open field. He's got tremendous vision. He can make people miss. You saw all of that on display here in the opening drive.
Lining up to tack one more onto that lead. And the extra point makes it 7-3. To a drive there of 84 yards. And he closed the deal by racing 35 yards to pay dirt. He'll bring it out. Gets it out to the 20, about 5 yards short of where he'd be if he'd just taken a knee in the end zone. They'll snap it from the 20 for the opening play of this drive. Looking to throw on 1st down. Just a short pass to the tight end. Out across the 30 and out of bounds at the 33, and that's what you're looking for when you're backed up in your own territory.
And as soon as the receiver caught the ball, you saw the quarterback start communicating to his teammates what the next play was going to be, because they're now changing the tempo and going fast.
Backed up now, here's 2nd and long. Misfired on the last play, they'll go back to the air. This junior making his presence felt and making the stop after a short gain. It'll be 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Bringing the heat. And trying to put points on the board on 3rd down. Now they're staring at 4th down. The Cavaliers will line up to punt it away. They'll boot it into the night sky for the first time. He gets the first one off, and he was busier than he hoped in that loss last week, being called on 5 times. Pretty solid coverage there, and they'll stop him at the 26. Tulane has it back in the offense, coming out to go on the attack. Off to a good start here, and back to work now with a 7-3 lead. They think they can create space here with a run to the right. They'll mark him down at the 37. It's a 10-yard gain. He's up to 81 yards on the ground, and he's been terrific all season, ranking in the top 10 in rushing. Holds and fires complete to the right. Across the 50 and down and out of bounds at the 44. A good pickup on that one. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. They've crossed midfield at the 45 with a 1st and 10. Quarterback moving. It's incomplete. Good job by the defense sticking with its coverage.
And I think on that last play, that's an example of the quarterback trying to predetermine who he wants to throw to, and instead of letting the defense dictate who gets the ball. Man coverage, that guy was not open that time out on the perimeter of the field. Still, he gave him a chance, but that thing had incompletion written all over it from the moment the ball left his hand.
Finds his big tight end. Third down conversions are huge, and they've got one, and they're at the 35.
And it's on third downs like this, if you want to attack the middle of the field, you got to look for the tight end. Really nice route. Great job looking that football in. You can tell this quarterback really has a lot of confidence when he's in the pocket looking for the big fella, and they're able to hook up there.
And Artie, it's completely changed the game. Like now it's 11-on-11 football. The quarterback used to hand it off and stand there and watch the play. Now he's very much involved in the play. He's running the football so much, and even when he's not, he's making somebody go with him and cover him. So the quarterback scrambling, the quarterback running has completely changed the way people play defense.
Tulane comes to the line needing less than a yard on third down. They'll try to pick it up on the ground. And they needed an inch, and they didn't get it. This defense gives up nothing, and you'll like it. Now on fourth down, they'll send out the field goal unit. That thing would have hit a string in the middle of the uprights. Perfect. They're up by a touchdown here in the first. So they're lining up to kick it off after that last drive. Put a 3-spot on the board, and now the defense will try to shut them down. Looking for blockers. Not a whole lot of room to operate on that return as the coverage unit was there and ready. They'll start this drive from the 18-yard line. Wants to throw on first down off the play fake. It's complete to the left. And a good job of coverage by that defense, just a short pickup. And the Cavaliers in the hurry up. Second down, they'll go to the air. Tight end finds a soft spot. They stay aggressive and push their way out to the 33, and it's first down.
Offenses love the explosive plays through the air, pushing the ball down the field. And look at this. Sometimes it creates some momentum, and you want to capitalize. So you go get on the ball and get ready to run some no-huddle.
Plenty of work to do here on second and long.
Well, the QB decided to keep it on that one. And listen, if you had his athleticism, you'd want to keep it too. Almost every time they run these types of option plays. But he's just going to have to do a good job of understanding when to hand it off, when to pitch it, and try to keep this defense on their heels and read his keys. He's got a lot of talent. He's got to make sure he's making the right decisions moving forward.
The Cavaliers get the first down. They moved the chains on the ground last time. Let's see if they try to hit him up top. Off the play fake on first down, wants to throw. Fires deep toward the end zone. Touchdown, Virginia! They went for the big play, and boy, did it ever pay off.
One of the areas they really focused on with this receiver in the offseason was we need you to make more plays for us in the end zone. When we're taking shots, we need you to be able to step up and make tough catches. David, what a grab right there.
And I think a lot of that has to do with trusting your guy, knowing where he's going to be, knowing when he's going to sit down, when he's not. So being on the same page, and then having a guy that can go get it. Just when the ball is near him, he's going to make the play, just like he did right there for 6 points.
Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. They're set to kick it off, and this crowd now ready to get behind them. Here he comes from inside his own 5. Able to find enough room to get it out across the 25. He's brought down at the 26. The Tulane offense headed back onto the field. Jesse, they had to kick a field goal the last time they had it.
And oftentimes early in games, you're just trying to find your rhythm. Some things work, some don't on that first drive, David. It'll be interesting to see what happens here on the second drive.
Yeah, you got a feel for the defense now. You understand what they're trying to do, what their game plan is. Now you get to go into phase 2 of your game plan.
Not able to break the big one on that screen to the running back, but he found enough and a solid pickup on first down. Tulane to the line, facing second and short. Absolutely nothing settled. Deadlocked after one period of play as we have a look at the stats. They fought to a standstill in the first. Let's see who gets the edge early in the second. Give to the running back. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play.
You just need more from your offensive line. Second and short like that, you'd love to be able to fire off the ball and pick that up running it, but the defense was able to get penetration. They were able to get a stop, and now you set up third down, and this offensive line's going to have to play a lot better here.
They thought they could just run it on third and short, but this defense was there to make the stop. Tulane forced to send out the punt unit. They'll have to boot it away for the first time tonight. No return coming here as he signals for the fair catch and makes it right around the 30-yard line. Let's see what they have dialed up as this drive starts from the 29-yard line. Gets it to the back. He's brought down, but he went backwards after that completion, not the way they had it drawn up. And the Cavaliers want to move quickly.
And this offense gets nothing done on that play, but look at them. They're continuing to run this tempo. They want to try to do something to get a spark going to create a big play.
And they pick up just a few on that completion. Ball's at the 29. Defense can taste getting off the field. It's third and long. Trying to set up the screen. Got it across the 35 to the 36, but the defense knew that line to defend, and they force a fourth down. The Cavaliers will send out the punt unit. This will be the second time they've had to kick it away. The solid return there offsets some of the punt yardage and really sets up this offense nicely. Tulane has it back in the offense, coming out to go on the attack. First step of this drive comes from their own 44. Using his legs, keeping his eyes downfield. And it's incomplete. If you're going to take a hit like that, you might as well hang on to the ball.
Not many receivers like to get hit. They just don't, okay? They're prima donnas. That's what they are. That's who they are. Nice job by the defender.
Breaks into the open. Give him 88 yards rushing, and that should be no surprise. He's been among the nation's elite all season. On third and short, they keep it on the ground here. That'll be enough for the first down as they stop him at the 43-yard line. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Give to the back. And I think they'll give him 2 on that one, 2nd and 8 coming up. They want to get this defense on its heels.
And after that run, getting right back up to the line of scrimmage to go hurry up, defense has to be ready.
Rides the back on the option, the give. Not much running room there thanks to this senior defender. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. Tulane lines up on third and short. Makes the grab. Really nice job to convert that third down, and they've got it at the 33. Last completion got them a first down. Let's see what they do now. He'll ride his man on the option. Big pickup on the ground here to keep this drive moving and give them a first down. Tulane looking to put one on the board from the red zone. Gets the back moving. Off the play fake on first down. Looking to the big tight end. Makes the grab. He'll be stopped just short of the end zone, but they'll have it first and goal.
And David, I know there's a part of you that wonders what if had you played tight end. You and I have been out in the field pregame before. We've been spinning it around with your athleticism. I know you wonder what it would have been like to go make plays like that.
I tell you what, I do wonder what if now, Jesse, because now you can't hit these guys. Like, you're not allowed to hit them high, all the targeting. Like, if you're a big body guy with good hands, you can go make a lot of money. It might have been a little bit safer. Might not have got hurt. So, yeah, it might not have been that bad of a limit.
Man, the last thing you want after controlling the ball, moving it down the field, is to have to settle. Touchdown, Tulane! Quick strike through the air for the score.
And I love finding the big fella down in the red zone, 3rd and goal. You got to make something happen down here. Throw it up high. Let the big fella make you look really good as a quarterback. Love finding those big guys down here in the red zone.
Now they'll line up for what they hope is automatic. And the extra point is true, and they're on top by 7. And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Guys, I believe someone calls it the Conference of Champions. Pac-12 action today. Texas State is just getting blown off the field right now. And at this rate, I'm not sure this won't get worse. They're trailing by 14 to Boise State. We'll keep you posted on things in this game that...
The drive starts from their own 25-yard line. Going right to work up top. Quick completion on the out. He finds enough room to get it up to the 28-yard line before going out of bounds. He'll keep it himself. And they'll stop him after a minimal pickup.
Yeah, and it's a nice job by this defense understanding, listen, that QB is a threat, and they're going to run all kinds of options, and he's going to run the football. They were dialed in and got that sucker to the ground.
And the Cavaliers come to the line on 3rd and short, trying to keep the drive alive. Here comes the heat. Here comes the rush, and they've got him wrapped up at the 28.
And listen, the quarterback drops back, and he's going through his progressions. We see zone, but just couldn't do anything about it. This defensive line, this pressure, getting to the quarterback, getting him on the ground.
The Cavaliers line up to punt it away. That nifty return sets up the offense and negates some of the yardage on the punt. Good field position to start this drive at their own 47. Quarterback on the keeper. Gets it past the marker. Dragged down at the 43, but it's a pickup of 10 on that one. Off the play fake on 1st down to throw. And this will be incomplete. A big hit there forces 2nd down. All wideouts, no backs. They'll throw again after the incompletion. This time he's got his man. They make the stop, but the sweet pull and catch is plenty to give him a 1st down. Last completion moved the sticks in. Let's see if they try it again. Find some fresh air. And he's brought down after a nice gain. Here comes Tulane after picking up the 1st down. Quarterback will keep it. Got some room, headed to the goal line. And he waltzes in for the score. Touchdown, Green Wave.
And I tell you what, Reese, I'm not picking a team unless I got a guy that can do something like this at the quarterback spot. I need an athlete. I need a little bit of mobility. Just dictates too much to the defense. QB runs in for 6.
They'll try to tack one more on their score. And the extra point pushes the lead to 14. A very efficient 5-play scoring drive. They're coming out to tee it up for the kickoff, and that last score was a real buzzkill for this crowd. On the move from inside his 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. They take over late in the half, enough time to put together a drive. Looking to throw on 1st down. Quickly out to the tight end. And just a short, safe pass play. They pick up a few. The hurry up now. Second down. Clock ticking. Back to pass. Oh, they're after him. And the pressure gets there. And down he goes at the 18. Timeout is called, and it's the defense wanting to make sure that everyone's on the same page for this big down. On third down, going up top. And they can't hook up on the big play, and that brings up a fourth down. And the Cavaliers will try to pin them back with the punt. Fourth time tonight we've seen this guy come on to punt. And you make the stop, and that is exactly what you want out of your punt cover unit. Good field position to start this drive at their own 47. He wastes no time and comes out throwing. And the defense gets home and makes a play at the 37-yard line.
Well, obviously, at this point in the first half, the defense is finding themselves in a hole. You just get the feeling if they're going to get back in this, they're going to need more plays like that. They're going to need sacks. They're going to need turnovers. They're going to have to create negative plays to get themselves some momentum.
The Green Wave put itself in a mess behind the sticks here on second down. They'll move the tight end. Going to swing it on second down. Got rid of it in a hurry, but he couldn't find his man. It's incomplete. Tulane now facing third and forever. From the shotgun, they'll run it. He's brought down at the 49. That is well short of the first down. There's a timeout on the field. Tight game here late in the first half. Tulane forced to send out the punt unit. This will be the second time they've had to kick it away. And the punt hits at the 8 and goes into the end zone for the touchback. Running backs on either side of the quarterback. Wants to throw on first down. And he had it for a second, but it just dribbled out of his hands. Well, will they dial up on second, and a long way to go. Couldn't connect on first down, now back to the air. They'll run the screen. Breaks the tackle. They'll guide him out of bounds down at the 25-yard line. They've already punted 4 times in this game, and they're about to run the guy out there for a 5th time if they don't pick up the first down here. He lost one down the sideline. Caught at the 25. Touchdown, Cavaliers. Made the grab and then did the rest himself, and they put points on the board.
And that was a really big score here at the end of the first half, just for their confidence and their momentum. They're obviously still losing right now on the scoreboard, but you had the feeling something positive had to happen here at the end of the first half for them to go in at halftime, regroup, and come out in the second half now trying to build on that successful drive offensively.
Getting set for the point after. And the PAT will draw them 1 point closer. Quick strike offense on that 3-play scoring drive. And they finish with a huge play in the passing game, covering 75 yards to house it. Set sail out of the end zone. And good work by the coverage team to knock down the return man. Good news, I guess, a lot of room to work with as they start this drive from their own 15. Throws to the wideout. Complete in the middle. Gets it to the 37. Clock stops to move the chains. The offense calls timeout. It's the second one they've used this half. Pulls and throws off the RPO. The offense uses a timeout to stop the clock, and they'll get a quick breather. The Green Wave with plenty of options here on second and short. Now the play fake. Almost had the completion, just missed it. Running out of time here in the first half, they're going to have to be efficient to put some points on the board before the break. Swings it out to the flat. He ended up going backwards on the play, and they will not convert that third down. Tulane forced to send out the punt unit. We played 2 quarters here. Time to go to Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
All right, guys, looks like we've got a great atmosphere today in Charlottesville. And talk about a first half for the dude in that backfield. That coaching staff has been giving rave reviews on a weekly basis. And through 2 quarters today, he's been a complete game changer. He's breaking the will of this defense, and that's something that's just very tough to quantify. And with that, let's send it back to the guys at the Carl Smith Center and Scott Stadium.
The Cavaliers will kick it away first, and we'll start the second half. He'll start the return inside his 5. He was looking for more running room, but none to be found as he stopped at the 23. This drive opens up at the 23-yard line. A run for the quarterback. Really nice job to squirt his way up to the 31-yard line. Tulane to the line, facing second and short. He'll do it himself. And he gets it up to the 36. It'll be a first down. So they move the sticks on the run. Let's see what they do with this one. Goes to the option. Stopped in the backfield. He's going to lose 3 yards on the play. The Green Wave put itself in a mess behind the sticks here on second down. Looking to fire. Right on the money. And the defense had that one well covered, just a short game there. Now facing a third and long. From the gun, wants to pass. And they won't make the connection going for the big play. Tulane forced to send out the punt unit. Now on the return. Everybody stays in their lanes well enough, and they stop him at the 31-yard line. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. First play of this drive will start from the 31-yard line. Wants to go up top on first down. Finds his man. He'll be stopped at the 41, but give him 10 on that play. And the Cavaliers want to pick up the tempo.
All right, defense, you got to turn the page. You just gave up an explosive play through the air, but here comes the offense going quickly. You got to get lined up now and get ready for another one.
Tried to fight his way forward, but he didn't even make it back to the line of scrimmage.
This has got to be disappointing if you're the offense, guys. You were expecting to have a lot of success running the ball, especially against this defense, which has struggled so much this season, but just nothing doing. They have not been good enough in the trenches so far.
They're about to wear this punter out. He's already been out 4 times, staring at a 5th if they can't move the chains. Snap from the gun on third down. He's got it. They'll move the chains. Good execution on third down. They've got it at the 41. The Cavaliers are flying down the field.
This running back is a weapon. Not only is he going to hurt you in the run game, but they're going to throw it to him, and they're going to throw it to him on first down, second down, and third down, as you saw right there.
And there was nowhere to go, just stopped in his tracks in the backfield. Caught in the backfield, it's Vargas. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that. On third and long, hoping to throw beyond the sticks. Oh, he dropped it. That deep ball was right on the money. You just have to make that catch. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. And the Cavaliers will punt it away on fourth down. This will be the 5th kick of the night. He'll get away another punt. He's been really active today, and no doubt he's going to earn his varsity letter. A little wrinkle here as they go to the Wildcat and use the extra blocker. Back in motion, try to clear the picture. Snap to the back. The Green Wave put itself in a mess behind the sticks here on second down. A designed run for the quarterback. Oh, he's got some space. Got to be smart, patient, great vision, uses all of that to get to the 29. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. You got to think they'll try to muscle their way forward on 3rd and short from the 29. Looking to move the chains. They throw it complete to the left. And he's got enough for the first down. They'll mark it at the 34. Back has it. Fights off the defender. Wildcat look didn't get much. Picked up a few on that one. After picking up a couple at 2nd and 8. They'll run play action. Intercepted. That is just what this defense needed. Would have loved to have gotten a big return out of that one, but they'll take it first down at the 40.
And if you're going to throw a heater like that as a quarterback, you better be accurate, because tips lead to picks, especially when you're throwing it over the middle of the field. That time trying to find his tight end, but it is not an accurate throw. It goes up in the air, and the defense makes him pay with the pick.
Virginia has it back. The Cavalier offense headed to the field. They had to punt it away on their last possession, but man, what great field position this time.
I mean, this is awesome. Like, last possession didn't go great. Now you're set up in an opportunity to get some points. Start thinking about what plays I like, Jesse, as I cross the field.
There are a lot of offensive coordinators out there, David, and in this position, they like to take a shot right away and try and capitalize on this field position.
Looking for a physical attack from the gun. He was looking for some place to put his foot in the ground, but the defense was everywhere, and he's knocked down behind the line.
Man, it's been a surprise today for this offense. Like, coming into the game, we all talked about it. We thought they'd be able to run against this defense that's been run on a lot, and this offense just can't get the running game going. It'll be interesting to see what they do to try to change it up, but somehow, some way, they need that physical ground game.
Can't hang on to the ball. He had it right in his chest, and it'll be 4th down. Kick is in the air, and the return man couldn't get to it to make the catch, and the ball will bounce out of bounds. They'll get this drive started from their own 26. They'll move the wide receiver. Little touch pass to the receiver. This freshman makes the stop after a short gain. Behind the chains now on 2nd and long. Going with the ground game left. This time they stop him behind the line of scrimmage, and boy, that has been rare in this one. Tulane comes to the line, lots of work to do on 3rd down. From the gun, wants to pass. Oh, they really could have used that catch there. Physical pass defense. It brings up a 4th down. Tulane forced to send out the punt unit. He's getting a lot of work. 4th time he's punted tonight. He's brought down, but a really solid effort to pick up every bit of yardage he could on the punt return. They'll snap it from the 37 for the first play of this drive. Working that left side now. And good coverage by the defense, just a short gain. The Cavaliers are in the hurry-up. They'll go to work in the air on 2nd down. And the defense gets home. Yippee-ki-yay at the 35. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. Rushes on him. He's got the tight end. They've got it to the 49-yard line, and they'll move the chains.
I don't know if this defense knows what just hit them, because they gave up the completion, they gave up a 1st down, and now here's the offense back up at the line of scrimmage again, going tempo.
We'll give him a couple on that one. 2nd and 8 coming up. Moving quickly, trying to rattle the D.
A nice job being gap sound by this defense. And here you go. Watch what this offense does. They'll get right back on the ball, and they'll go really quick, so you got to be prepared.
Big 3rd down here. They need to get the ball to the 41. From the gun, wants to pass. Finds the tight end. They make the stop about 4 yards short of the first down. And the Cavaliers will punt this one away. That thing was down for a while, but the big bounce carried it into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. A lot of field in front of them as they open this possession from their own 20. Touch pass on the right. The defense wouldn't let him loose, and even though it's a completion, they lost yardage. Not what they had in mind to start this drive. Here comes 2nd and 13. Wants to go up top. Just missed on the connection, incomplete. The green wave in a world of hurt on 3rd and long. He's looking downfield to throw. He lost it high and deep down the left side. Oh, he had it. The deep ball was there, and it just trickled through his fingers. Tulane forced to send out the punt unit. That leg is staying loose, already the 5th kick of the night. They'll put a stop to that return as he gets it up to the 41-yard line. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Plenty of time for one more snap before the end of the quarter. Leaves it with the back. He's stopped again, and he's had a busy night, if not necessarily a productive one so far. And you want to talk about his favorite receiver, it might be everybody, based on the number of guys getting touches and a chance to show off their hands in the passing game. When you're dealing with a deficit like this, it's all about somebody stepping up to make a play, and you might as well start here in the 4th quarter. Slithers into space. The Cavaliers want to crank the tempo. Trying play action. Got his man quickly. Really strong job by the defense. A negative play on 3rd down. And the Cavaliers send out the punt unit. He's going to try to flip the field with this one. And that is how a punter helps out his defense, hitting them deep in their own territory. We'll see what they can do on this drive as it starts at the 8. On the option. He is going nowhere. Stop at the line of scrimmage. Plenty of distance between them and the sticks here on 2nd down. From the gun, he leaves it with the back. That is a big win for this defense as they were right there as soon as he got the ball. On 3rd down, he'll try to pick it up through the air. Oh, he dropped it. That deep ball was right on the money. You just have to make that catch. Tulane forced to send out the punt unit. We've seen a lot of the punt team 6th time tonight. From midfield, looking for room. And the returner could find no daylight. He goes down. Virginia sending its offense back onto the field. After 3 consecutive punts, we'll see if they can dial up something that can get this offense moving forward. Try to make up for some of that lost ground on 2nd down. The give, and he's looking for room behind the left tackle. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. They've got to come up with a big play on this 3rd and long. Looking to throw. Swings it out to his running back. He's going to come up about 5 yards short of the line to gain. The Cavaliers will call on their punt team. And nobody able to field that punt as it rolls out of bounds. They're backed up, 1st and 10 from inside their own 5, and they'll try to get this drive started. They'll start this drive going to the air. He's got him in the flat. He's going to get stopped, trapped, and it'll be a safety.
And that's exactly what you call complementary football. The punter doing a great job downing the opponent inside their own 5-yard line. Then the defense takes the field and they get the safety. You've got to love that if you're the head coach.
They'll get set for the free kick after the safety. Out of the crowd, and now he's got room. They'll start this drive at the 33-yard line. They'll run the RPO and fire to the right. They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground to cover and pick up the first.
I love this defense's ability to fight off blocks and rally to the football. They do such a great job.
Here comes the rush, and they've got him wrapped up at the 28.
Play-action pass success has a lot to do with selling that fake. You could tell defense was not buying it, got in the backfield, got the big play.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. On 3rd and long, doesn't need to take the check down. And that's incomplete. A defender all over him. Knocked the ball to the ground. 4th down coming up. And the Cavaliers decide to punt it away. 3 and out, and not much choice but to get rid of the ball. Slips through the line. They'll put a stop to that return as he gets it up to the 41-yard line. First snap of this drive comes from their own 41. Looking downfield on 1st down. And it's picked off. That's the turnover they desperately needed. Looking for more room. And he's going to score on the interception. Touchdown, Virginia.
So much pressure on this defense just to get a stop on this drive. They were trailing, but after that turn of events and the interception, they've now got the lead. And remember, they're going to have to come right back on the field. They've got to be able to refocus themselves. But what a play.
Leading by 1, they'll go ahead and go for 2 and try to make it a field goal game. Here's the snap, looking to throw. Pass is incomplete. No good on the 2-point conversion. They tried to stretch his lead out to a field goal, but they're still up by 1. And it'll be a touchback. The ball will come out to the 25-yard line. They'll put this one in play. First snap of the drive from the 25. Motion from the back. Hold and fire complete. A most efficient pickup of 6 on 1st down. It's 2nd and 4. Back to pass. Unloads to the wideout. Complete to the right. Turning it on. Running inside the 20. Touchdown, Green Wave. And with that, they move out front here in the 4th.
Well, I love the play call late in the 4th quarter now. You're just trying to get athletes in space. They throw it to him just short of the end zone, and he does the rest. And because of it, his team now has the lead.
They want to see if they can score the deuce. He'll set up to throw. Pass is incomplete. They can't convert the 2, and the lead stays at 5. He'll bring it back from inside his 5. He was looking for some running room, but not much to be found as he stopped at the 18. A little bit backed up to start this drive from their own 18-yard line. He's going to lose a yard on that one. The Cavaliers come to the line in the hurry-up.
Well, the defense didn't have a lot of time to celebrate that last big play because here's the offense right away back at the line of scrimmage, ready to roll again with tempo.
He'll pull it on the read. On the run, and he'll slide to avoid the big hit. And the Cavaliers come to the line on 3rd and short, trying to convert here. gets it from the gun on third down. Quickly complete. And they gave him no chance to get loose, and they force a fourth down. The Cavaliers will bring the punt team onto the field. He'll try to really get into this one. Working his way on the return up to the 40-yard line before he stopped. The Tulane offense headed back onto the field. Off play action on first down. Fires to the wideout. Got his man. And he'll be forced out of bounds, but not before yet another big play in this passing attack.
I'll be honest, man. If I had the weapons these guys had offensively, I'd be staying aggressive too. It's what got them to this point. It's why they have the lead here in the fourth quarter. Take some shots when those opportunities present themselves.
The defense wouldn't let him loose there, and it was a completion, but they lost yardage. The Green Wave put itself in a mess behind the sticks here on second down. Oh, better look out. Sweet cut there. There he goes. They finally get him on the ground, but he's got an explosive play for the first down. Tulane using that big run to generate momentum. Quick touch pass to the receiver. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Going to work on second down in the red zone, and still some ground to cover to pick up that first down. Sends it back in motion. Wants to fire on second down. They'll throw it to the back on the screen. Can't quite cross the plane to get the 6, but they'll have the first down. And this defense has to step forward. Not only do they have to get a stop, they've got to do it quickly to keep that time from running down. He's knocked down a couple yards behind the line of scrimmage. Can the defense stop them again on second and goal? Wide receiver comes in motion. Using his feet. He's going to lose a yard on that one. Timeout called there by the defense, desperate to get the ball back and save as much time as possible. They'll try to pass it in on third and goal. And he wanted to get the score right there, but it falls incomplete. So on fourth down, here comes the field goal kicker in a huge spot. And that is no good. Still up by 5 after missing that chance to put a little padding on it, guys.
Well, that's one the kicker would like to have back. That's a kick he should be making in his sleep.
They'll snap it from the 20 for the opening play of this drive. They'll start this drive going to the air. Out of the backfield, he's open. And he gets it to the 45-yard line, and that'll be a first down. And the Cavaliers racing to the line in the hurry-up.
Yeah, and he's been throwing it all over the yard, and he's now over 300 yards on the day, so been a successful day. Now, 300 yards, I don't know, Palmer, 300 nowadays, that's like what back in the day for you?
That would have been 500. I would have won the Heisman, maybe. It's a big deal today.
Looking for the end zone. Oh, he had it. The deep ball was there, and it just trickled through his fingers. They're dealing with a second and long. He'll keep it himself. And he finds some solid space, makes a nice game before the defense is able to stop him. The Cavaliers really need to keep this drive alive on third down. Clock stops. We have reached the 2-minute timeout, and the offense is looking for a play to close this deal out. They're going to try to throw for it on third down. And the incomplete pass will bring up fourth down. The defense coming out to protect the lead, but this offense still has plenty of time, likely their final drive. They stop him short of the marker, and they'll turn it over on downs.
It's a turnover on downs.
They'll keep it on the ground. The clock is on their side. They stop him at the 42, but they get it across midfield, pick up 10 and the first down. He now has 108 yards on the ground, and he has his eyes fixed on leading the nation in rushing. And the quarterback's just going to take a knee. They get the W, and with that being win number 6, looks as if they're going bowling, guys.
And that's a good moment for this squad, right? Like, you start every season, you have big goals. It usually starts with your conference championship and winning a national championship, maybe going to the playoffs. Everybody has different goals, but getting to a bowl is always sweet, and this team's eligible now.
I know the coaches are really happy about this, the AD and the fans, because they know what it means for the program, right? You're going to get those 15 extra practices at the end of the year to help develop young talent. Looking ahead to next season, but that's next season. There's still a lot of football left to go this year. Let's just see how good of a bowl game they can get to.
That's going to do it from here. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis, and you've been watching another presentation of EA Sports College Football.